in schools than soldiers killed in war zone areas. Americans was.
Are we? We just don't hear about the soldiers.
Nope. That's completely true. It's a true stat of 2018. Donald Trump's America. More people, Americans, killed in high schools and middle schools than soldiers killed in war zone areas.
Wow.
And we spent $50 billion on the military for the small amount of troops that were being killed. It's that's a problem. We won't do shit for kids.
Send our prayers and thoughts.
Yes, yeah.
Somebody put out something really, really, really. I can't remember who it was. It was somebody from down around in that area. It was when J.J. Watt stood up and said, "I'll pay for all the funerals."
Yeah.
Somebody that was involved in the athletics around that area stood up and said, I'm tired of sending prayers and condolences. I want to send a solution.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was Deshaun Watson, actually.
And who I thought that was pretty good to say, especially at that time. It was it could have been perceived one of two ways, but it's the truth. I mean, it's becoming more and more prevalent. There's got to be some sort of an answer.
Wasn't it Emma Gonzalez was the one that was saying that thoughts and prayers is just another way to say fuck off? And it kind of is, honestly, anymore. There's not. I mean, it doesn't do anything.
It's kind of like that unapologetic apology that you're
sorry,
forced
not sorry.
to do.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. I'm not saying that some people are not sincere by saying that. I mean, I get that, but we need more than that. And it's getting to the point where that's just a staple statement. And
because that's what it has to be. You know what I mean? And to her point, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of the things that Emma Gonzalez says in her rants. However, I do support her because she is on a mission.
Yeah.
And she's going to be a pioneer in what's to come. Whether we like it or hate it. She's young. She's involved. She truly gives a shit. And I support that. Yeah. You know what I mean? No matter which side of the fence I stand on it, I support her in it. You know what I mean? I don't badmouth her for doing what she's doing.
No, and I respect her resolve. Because like I said, I'm almost at the point, I got nothing else to say on the whole gun reform thing. Said it all. And I just come to the final conclusion because everyone still fights for we're going to be Nazis if we don't have guns or blah, blah, whatever. Just say you don't give a shit about kids getting shot. Okay? Just say that because that's what's happening.
The sad fact of the matter is that most people don't until it would, God forbid, happen to them.
Exactly. Or in their community.
I mean, it's real easy to sit back from hundreds of miles away and say, that'll never happen here. Oh, just another tragedy, and go drink wine with your knitting class and talk about it. Not really giving a shit. You know what I mean? About human lives that are lost and things like that. And realizing that every time this happens, it gets closer and closer to happening to you.
Well, and I got a question too. And I'm halfway being serious, halfway not. But should we give high school kids and should we give students and teachers and people that work for the school system, should we give them the same benefits and respect now that we give our foreign sent troops? Because it's more dangerous to send your kid to school in America than it is to send your kid to Iraq.
I mean, that's the brutal, honest truth of the matter.
So should I be telling Matt, man, thank you for your...
Yeah, thanks for surviving today at school.
Thanks for your support and everything you're doing out there. I appreciate it.
It's just sad that the world's that way.
Because that dude is out there trying to fix lives and help kids, and he could be shot at. There's a higher likely chance that he'll get killed doing his... I'm not going to talk shit about your job, but your underfunded job than if you were in Afghanistan. That's fucking insane.
I need to change jobs.
Yeah. You're not getting paid enough.
Join the military.
Join the military.
It's safer.
Yeah. No, I think the saddest part about that whole story, and there's a lot of side stories of that story, but was the student that just said, I'm not surprised it happened.
Yes.
I'm not surprised it happened at all.
Same thing happened at Parkland. Same thing at Columbine. Same thing everywhere, though. the student body knows they can almost project who is capable of doing this. So
but I mean, she wasn't even saying it about that shooter specifically. She just said, "I'm not surprised it happened at my school."
There's been 19 in America since the beginning of the year. 19 school shootings. That's what she's saying.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And then you have that dumbass that showed up. Oh man, the dumbass that showed up with the American flag. Did you hear about that?
I seen it, but I didn't really read it.
All right, so dumbass shows up with American flag with a side piece on, literally at the scene where there's FBI, everybody like that.
Did he get shot?
No, but
was he white?
He got wearing a MAGA hat.
No,
and he
surprise.
He gets interviewed, of course, and he's like, "Well, I just thought I'd come and lend my support." What kind of fucking support are you going to help with your gun strapped on your hip? Why would you? I mean, he was tore into by Second Rights Amendment activists. Everybody like, not the time, dude. Why would you show up at a place that literally kids just got shot with a gun? You know, if he was black, he would have been shot. Probably.
Yeah. No,
he probably would have been killed.
The thing about that is there's going to be people out there that are listening like, that's the most effed up thing you could say. But the problem with that statement is it's 100% true. It's 100% true. There's no fabrication in that. What Matt just said about if you switch it around, if he was a black guy showing up with a gun, he would have got shot.
100%.
But I mean, and that's just part of it. It's like, for the most part, people had the beef, just the fact that why? I mean, you
show up with a gun.
Why would you show up with a gun? What you're doing is you're trying to make a point, obviously.
That's like finding out
the worst time ever. That's like, if you showed up, with a sign that said "fuck Muslims" or whatnot after 9/11 at the exact same time,
or
it's just like
you find out like your buddy's mom hung herself, and you show up to his house with a noose.
Yeah,
what, man, how you doing? Like,
look what I made.
It's ridiculous.
Not the time. Rope doesn't kill people. People kill people.
That's pretty much a fine example of stupidity.
Absolutely.
At its finest.
Absolutely.
And really just trying to, like you said, make a statement. But what's the statement? The only argument that could be brought up on the other side of the table is that in Texas, open carry is legal. So if it's part of his everyday deal to put a gun on his side and walk out of his house, then it's part of his
I get
day-to-day
that.
rigmarole.
But to show up with the American flag with a MAGA hat on, you're making a statement.
I get that.
And and my thing is like you're there to lend support, which basically he was inferring he's got a gun and he's there to help if he needs to help.
If he needs to help.
Whereas
he's already done
there's literally dozens of FBI in all camouflage, all in their getup,
SWAT gear,
with their fully automatic rifles or whatever the hell they have.
Oh, they were AR-15s. Don't discredit that.
Oh yes, and don't get me started on that too.
Don't
get me started on the fact that this shooting happened and it wasn't an AR-15.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. So
it was just a shotgun and pipe bombs.
Shotgun and a .38 special. That's what it was.
Yeah, I guess the first report that I seen said that he was found with he had pipe bombs
and a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah,
he had some other explosive devices.
So it wasn't an AR-15, which is kind of good.
I did hear the great rhetoric of, "See, if we had our teachers armed, this wouldn't have happened."
That's bullshit.
The school resource officer was shot.
Can I say? Can I say this? Actually, we need to have unarmed black men at each of our schools because the only real successful stopper of a mass shooting was an unarmed black guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, just research.
I think we ought to just homeschool our children and be done with it.
That's what I'm doing.
I mean, just shut down public schools altogether. I mean,
let me ask you a question. If this happened, if we had 19 mass shootings at Walmarts, or where's another place a lot of people, like Sonic's or McDonald's or, would this be more of an issue, you think? Do you think people would actually take, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you would think that most people would look at their kids and be like, God, it's really important to me. I don't want this thing to become target practice for a psycho.
Right.
But
not like Tommy, I know your school got shot up yesterday, but classes are going to resume tomorrow, and you need to be there.
Yes, yeah, no. Well, and Dad needs a submachine gun, so you know, let him have it. But I'm just wondering if it happened more where people are like other people, you know, like if adults could be the target easier, if it would be a problem more, you know, an issue, and we would actually be looking to fix it.
But does it speak for, and maybe Matt can weigh in on this a little bit better, and maybe I'm reaching at straws here, but does it speak for the maturity of the human mind that it doesn't happen in adult populated places more often because adults are more aware of the consequences of their actions?
Can I say one thing real quick? I think that and I don't want to support this or, you know, start anything, but if someone had realized that if they opened fire in a Walmart or in a mall, it'd be much bigger than a school and they'd get more attention, I think we would see that.
Well, there has been plenty of mall shootings.
There has been. Not so much in America.
Right. I just mean, like, because these people, they're doing it for attention. If they realize they'd get more attention by higher body count in a more populated area, they'd probably...
Well, I just don't think it's been made cool yet. You know what I mean? It hasn't been glorified.
And and not to justify or anything, but the majority of these are revenge.
Right, I was going to say, are they really looking for
this
attention,
kid,
or they
this kid just screams that he was bullied and whatnot. But I mean, even at the Parkland one too, he was an outcast. He, you know, for the Columbine, like I'm not giving it like justification, but what I'm saying is like they targeted people because the
school systems need to do a better job of identifying those issues long before they become this kind of problem. Basically what it amounts to is the schools need to do a better job of protecting our children while they're there. They need to address these issues instead of sweeping them under the rug. You know, this whole bullying thing, and when it comes down to it, it's a very real problem.
Can I ask you a question? How are they supposed to do that when they can't afford supplies? Like
it doesn't cost anything to be a good person. It costs nothing to take somebody aside and say, "Look, man."
It's about being a teacher with 35 different other students that you have to be paying attention to. You're there for their academics, not for anything else. I mean,
report it if they know about it. Report it to administration.
How much can they report? And the administration is trying to find money just to keep the damn school open. Like, we underfund our schools so much, and we ask them to do so much, but we won't fucking.
Well, then maybe instead of asking for donations for their athletic department, they should be asking for donations for their school in general.
They can't.
It's
illegal.
Yeah, it is. It's a booster club that asks for the.
But shouldn't that be standard protocol? Shouldn't there be something in their day-to-day operating procedures to where they handle if a kid is being bullied, where they handle that? They put them in touch with the counselor. They notify the parents.
They do.
Bullshit. Every day in the United States of America, statistically speaking, this is no bullshit, and I've researched this and I know it, and you can argue all day long. Up to 160,000 kids a day skip school because they're bullied. Only 4% of teachers as a whole report issues of bullying that they see every day. 4% out of 100 report it to the administration. So where does it start? You can't really put it. They need to, as a whole, they need to recognize these things quicker, and they need to take them more seriously.
I see on Jay's point here where he's saying that, you know, you've got 35 kids to one person. You can only have eyes in so many different directions.
They handled it when I was in school.
Not to mention, why aren't the parents dealing with it?
When we were in school, though, the classes were so much smaller.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
My classes were huge.
They were still smaller. And the teachers were making a little bit more then.
Society just gave a shit more.
When you were in school, there was like what? It was just one big schoolhouse, right?
Shut your ass.
Dirt floor. you had a guy that went to get the pail of water.
We had to sit boy, girl.
Their bell was the ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling.
Yeah, you know, that's the shit you get for being the oldest guy in the room.
No, but you did only have like one class, like for the most part, right? Just one teacher.
Well, I only went to one class, but you know, whatever. No, my school district was huge. No, I wasn't part of the block schedule. I was pre-block schedule.
So they knew everyone more. You're bouncing around between so many teachers, but still, why aren't the parents bringing it up?
Well, I think that if the parents knew that their child was having an issue. Because not all kids are going to show signs of it when they go home. And in society today, there isn't really, and we've talked about this before, there isn't that sit-down interaction with your children. There's no more family dinners at the table anymore where you openly talk about this shit. You know, most of the time, if you were a fly on the wall in 80% of the houses in America where there was a husband and wife and 2.5 children and a dog at a dinner table, they're talking about finances. They're talking about what they're doing this weekend, and that's it. The kids kind of get left behind, and there's no trust there. The kids aren't going to come to dinner table and say, "Man, I'm getting picked on at school. I hate everything." So they start rebelling.
I completely disagree.
What do you mean? What do you disagree on?
For one, you don't talk about finances
I know
in
you're
front
not
of your
supposed
kids.
to, but a lot of people
But the majority of households do.
And I mean, also the idea. I don't know. Like, I think it like. Families do come together and just talk like for hours. Like that's been my experience.
You're a Mexican, of course they do.
and see, that's my other thing.
Because all 36 of you got something to say.
I think it's time for you white people to step down. This is what you've done with our country.
Let the natives.
You know what?
I'm okay with that.
It's time for the
I'll be the first one to take a step.
And the black people to run the country. I think.
Jesus!
You guys have put us in a shithole.
And how quickly we tear up stuff, and Jay pisses everybody off. No, but the thing about it to me is that it's a full circle deal, and until we actually have the balls to identify the deep-rooted cause of these conditions, nothing's ever going to change. There's no amount of taking. If you could take all the guns away tomorrow, guess what? On Tuesday, there's going to be a school shooting.
You know,
it's going to happen.
But and I agree with you. But there are certain superficial things you can do that will prevent a lot. And schools have already done with the lockdown, which you can get around that, obviously. But there is still no excuse why there's not metal detectors at the doors. There's no excuse.
Well, it's money.
If it happens in a business, what's the next thing they do the next day? They put metal detectors in.
Yeah. Why don't the states and why don't the federal government get involved and put these in and make it mandatory?
That's what I'm saying.
We don't want to pay taxes. That's why. I mean, I'm a big fan of paying taxes, and I pay a fuck ton, but people don't want to pay.
As an individual, figure something out. I mean, if they really wanted to, could they figure something out?
That's kind of my problem too, though. Like, Will saying, the teacher should pay more attention, the school should somehow like pull money out of theirs. Are we parents anymore? Like, we're just letting the schools figure everything out. We won't pay more money in to help them out. We're expecting them to raise our kids. Mm-hmm. We're expecting them to do all these things. We just donated sperm and let them.
That's not.
I get what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
But you know what?
I get that. But what I'm saying is to clear that air is this: no, I don't want anyone else raising my children. However, be responsible for my child and every other child in that building while they're there. That's what you're trusted to do. That's your job. Do it. If I send my kid to daycare and he chokes on a Lego, somebody wasn't paying attention.
Right. How much would you pay? Like, okay, let's say you have daycare that's $10 a day, and then you have daycare that's $200 a day.
They both should be the same as far as
they're not. I mean, look what happens when you get $20
credentials.
Headphones. They snap on a big old head.
They're not built for a triple X head.
These $50 ones, they're not going to snap.
Shut up about my head.
my point, you get what you pay for. So, like, are you going to spend that extra money for your kid?
But, I mean, in all reality, though, I mean, there shouldn't be a price tag on your kids' life. However, you shouldn't have to pay out of your ass for your kid to get a safe environment. You know what I mean? Like, what happens for the people that are struggling, that are out there working every day, round the clock, 2-3 jobs, and can't afford... is it their fault? Is it really their fault for not being able to afford that $200 a day daycare?
But most of that, and in what I'm going through is talking about taxes, and most of them
taxes are not.
If they can't afford, if they're like poverty line anyway, they're not going to end up paying the taxes. But those people vote for tax cuts for the rich. And that's my point.
I get that.
You're saving people money who it's not going to benefit you at all. And, you're being lied to as to why, it's going to create jobs and it's going to do all this. This is great. Tax cuts are awesome. But then when it's like, well, how come the schools don't have any money? Well, because you voted for tax cuts. Because you don't want people paying taxes. Well, I'm too poor to pay taxes. Don't worry, you wouldn't pay taxes anyway. Most people, and it's sad, but most, especially poverty line people, live off of their income taxes. Like, that's another income for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that sucks that we're in that place. But that has nothing to do with the actual taxes that the rich pay. You know what I'm saying? Like that $11 that we get every paycheck really didn't do very much. $23 million that Jeff Bezos gets, or the other rich people,
but okay,
not going into our society.
But is it all about? It's not all about taxes. Number one, Kansas pays for their kids to go to school. It's Texas. You don't pay nothing for your kid to go to school. You pay for the taxes.
And that's why there's school shootings there and not in Kansas, probably.
Bullshit. Has nothing to do with that. I'm just saying it's...
We also don't pay enough.
I think that...
I don't think you should have to pay.
I don't think that we delegate enough money as a whole.
Teachers should have to pay for their own supplies?
No, but unfortunately they do.
By the trove. Yeah.
We do.
They do.
I come from a family
and I think
of
it's
teachers,
bullshit.
And yes, they've got to pay for their supplies.
Yeah.
Because they're not funded.
That's what I'm getting at there. I don't think that so it's not necessarily about the to Jay's point, it's not about the tax cuts. It's about that the governments don't delegate enough money to the education system, and then you tack on all these tax cuts that are putting more money into their pocket and less of it's going to the education system.
Is it that, or is it that the schools are budgeting poorly? I mean,
they don't have anything to budget, though.
Yeah, I mean,
is the thing. They barely got enough to make payroll.
I was looking at how much a teacher makes per hour. They make around $11.50 an hour.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that
That's
they don't make
bullshit.
enough. Yeah.
That is garbage. Somebody like Matt's wife, who literally is arguably in today's society, be it that, and I'm taking it from the fact that it's more dangerous to be in a school than a war zone. She's kind of a human meat shield. That's a fucking
right for $11.50 an hour.
Probably less. She actually probably makes less because, yeah, I mean, the teachers have their 4-year, 5, whatever. Some of them have even doctorates in education, and they get paid like garbage. So, like, what are they not? Where's the money that they're mishandling when people are barely getting paid?
We got a nice brand new section of highway, man.
Well, that yes. I meant in the school itself. And granted, the superintendents and people like that, I think they take a little bit too much. But even them, when you really think about it,
all the shit they deal with, they're still underpaid.
But I'm saying, where's all the money going that everybody pays to send their child to school, plus the taxes that they get? And then, like when I was in high school, up the road a few hours, it was $125 for one class in a high school.
Yeah, Matt, where does that money go? You seen any of the P&L reports, the budget, or anything?
It was $125 for a bookkeeping class that I took.
For high school?
For a high school.
Per year?
No, it wasn't even per year.
It's per semester, probably.
It was a 2-semester class, so it was for 2 semesters.
$250. So how much were your books?
That was included in the class, but they should have been provided.
And those books are fucking expensive. My mom had to replace a few books.
It was workbooks. It wasn't even textbooks, though. It was paperback.
That's something to look into. If someone would ever fight that, what the cost of that is, I don't know. But I just know, for 4 or 5 books that my mom read, it was like $700 for the books. 5 books. I mean, shit's expensive.
I'm not saying that that's not expensive, but how many of those are reused, number one? How often do you have to replace them? Versus, okay, I had 20 kids in my class. That's $2,000. For where does all of that money go?
By all rights, should go to the teacher.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that. Yeah,
that should be a bonus.
Well, let's say that's just going to the teacher. That's $2,000. Is that a living?
I'm not, but I'm saying over a course of how many? I mean, that was for 1 semester, 1 class. You've got that, 7 classes a day.
So it's $7,000 a year.
No.
Or $14,000 a year. Still like
for one class.
That's still like nothing to live off of.
But that's one class.
Yeah, but she may only have like 3 classes. I'm just saying, like, and then of course, I mean that doesn't go to the teacher, obviously. But I'm
saying, where does the school?
Where does it go? Where does it get delegated at the school level when they get that money? Does it go directly to the state into their funding, or does it stay in that school?
Well, I don't think you make a check out to the school.
Yes,
but even if you do,
check out
to the district, to the school district,
to the district, right? Which I think then does go to the state.
So do they have?
I don't know 100%, but I'm just saying, like, there's maintenance, there's upkeep on the building itself,
insurance and shit like that. That's probably like so the USDs are probably like a union per se, where all of those union dues that you pay go into a fund, and you pay for everybody's insurance and everybody's paid vacation and this, that, and the other shit. It's probably the same with the schools. If my mind is thinking right, where all of that money, those checks that are wrote to the district, go to the district, and that's their extra money to delegate to maintenance and things like that they need supplies. One school might get more than the other.
Right, band instruments.
Right.
I mean,
which I think is a program that should be focused on more.
Should be 100%. Art supply. I mean, it's all.
I always had to buy my own instrument. It was never provided for me.
Yeah, I bought mine too.
Anybody that I was in band with had to buy theirs. Nothing was supplied, or you rented it.
Oh yeah, we got some at our school, but
we got all of ours.
Yeah.
You didn't have to rent it?
No, man. Reimer had a badass Ludwig drum kit in there that we banged the hell out of.
Well, you had an awesome school then.
I told you we had a big school. There's a lot of money there. There was no.
Well, it only had one room. It's not that
hard. But we, at the same token, my senior year, they did at that point put metal detectors in the building.
Yeah, no.
And to my knowledge, they're still there today. I mean, I think they ought to just start throwing poop at each other.
I'm just saying, like, as far as
you want to segue,
you are. Let me just finish this up real quick. Like, as far like I respect what you're saying about school allocation of funds and whatever, but why can't you be like, why the fuck haven't the Koch brothers paid $50 million of taxes this year? Like,
I mean, I totally
why
get
isn't
that
the path we're going on instead of beating up on the poor?
I understand
why not
that,
going after the rich that
however,
aren't paying their taxes?
I get that, and it's not that I don't think that they should have to pay taxes. However, why can't we focus on fixing? I mean, if we all handled our own business, we wouldn't have to worry about so much other shit, you know. So if the school handled their shit, they might not have to worry about all the other shit. You know what I'm saying? Does that? I know I'm not saying it the right way, but I know what I'm trying to say.
Beat your kids if you want to stop school shootings.
I'm not exactly.
Instead of trying to rely on everybody else and fixing other problems, let's fix the problems within the schools, and then eventually other things will fall into place.
How's your coffee, Matt?
But part of the school fixing their own problems is getting funds from the state. Which, if our top 10% aren't paying into the state, then they're missing a fuck ton of money.
I'm just saying, why can't the schools think outside of the box and figure out how to take care of their own?
Boom. That's a great point, and I was just getting ready to actually say that. It's no different than like a teacher thinking outside of the box and going and buying their own supplies because it's not part of the curriculum or whatever. Why can't they think of ways to teach socially in their class how to handle these situations?
Well, they're trying.
The thing is to come out with to figure out a way to get some funds to protect their kids
because they have so many restrictions and limits set by the state.
As parents, why aren't we doing that? We should care. They're our kids.
And there's some PTOs that are looking at that and doing that, but there are so many restrictions and limits that the state has on funding for schools that it can only go through so many things.
So we just need to vote the right people in to change that shit. Basically,
is that not the answer to majority of things?
Yeah, exactly.
We the people, i.e., I enter into evidence into the court our current president.
Or can we stop for 5 seconds thinking that we're rich and that tax cuts are going to help us at all? Stop. You're not going to be... If you're listening to me right now, or you're in this room, or whatever, you're never going to be rich. So just...
accept it.
Just accept that shit, and allow it to be more of a socialized country.
By the way, if you want to donate to the program, send $1 and a
we do not have those restrictions.
We don't have restrictions. No. I mean, hey, I would have a stripper car wash as a fundraiser for the high school if they would take the money, you know.
Would you participate?
Oh yeah, dude! I would so wax your windows with my man boobs. Be great.
That'd be
you get a lot of area covered.
That's efficient. That's efficient.
That's not working hard. That's working smart.
That would be big money. Hey, can I get on something real quick?
Get on it, man.
And then I'm done. As far as
no, you're not. We got you fired up already.
No, it just really ties in line with what we're talking about. The whole tax cut thing and whatever. I saw this came out today because this was really big. The headline: tax cut sparks record-setting $178 billion buyback boom, which I talked about this, and I think so did Cody.
Cody don't matter. He's irrelevant.
As far as like, because, you know, that was the whole, even you were like, this tax cut thing, Trump's tax, it's going to be awesome. It's going to help spark the economy and we're all going to do great and whatever. So, and this is, and we were saying, look, they're going to falsely inflate the markets and then they're going to sell really high after they purchased into their own companies. Then they're going to sell really high and they're going to keep that money. And so all that money is just corporate welfare is all that is.
Basically.
And, you know, and Trump was, no, this is going to be awesome for the workers and this is going to help middle America, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so basically the S&P, the 500 companies showed Wall Street with at least $178 billion of buyback, which is already starting to inflate and it's falsely inflated the stocks, by the way. It's a 34% bump from last year and is basically a record that it's never been that high. The buyback has never been that high. The only time it ever was that high was, or close to, it was $172 billion, and that was in 2007, which I don't know if you remember what happened in 2008, but wasn't good stuff economically speaking because we had falsely inflated markets, and then once they crashed out, there was no fucking money there, and oh shit, recession, we're all poor, we're all eating rats. Anyway, this will top $1 trillion before they're done with it, and it's been called the buyback bonanza. It's been the biggest buyback ever, and most of it is having to do with giving corporate tax rate down to 21% from 35%. See, buybacks are clearly booming. More than 5.5 million companies have received some sort of buyback bonus.
Demon.
On a side note, very little, if at all any money from this has actually gone into job creation, 401ks, or into the actual growing of businesses. So all that is
that's because it's brand new. We got to get it all.
It's going to be $1 trillion that we just gave the rich people.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We just gave them $1 trillion.
That's fine, and I get that.
But you know, if you have 3 jobs, you can't get a sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I understand that, but my point on the whole tax cut thing is that I didn't disagree with the fact that the rich are going to get richer off of it, but at the same token, because of that has equated to I work the same amount of hours, I get the same amount of pay, I haven't got a pay raise or none of that stuff. I get between $88 and $92 extra every paycheck because of that. I'm getting my slice of the pie too, pal.
Right. Well,
so you know, since I'm not rich, an extra $90 a week goes a long ways.
For about 3 years, you'll get that.
That's fine. I'm going to take it while I can. I'm not greedy.
They will keep that forever.
Fine. That's because they're getting a lot more.
$1 trillion a year of our economy, we're just giving to rich people. Are we willing to do? I mean, obviously we are, but I don't think people are realizing how bad that's going to hurt us. Not to mention, and I hate getting into this stuff, but not to mention that due to tariffs and stuff, China has already bought all their soybean products and most of their agriculture stuff from Russia, Mexico, and the UK.
Damn it. They're going to get rid of Mugu Guy Pan?
That's over $7.1 trillion.
I'm pissed.
In our global economy that we lost. I'm just saying, like, we're all going to be eating your cat. Like,
not the cat.
Because we have no fucking money.
I mean, but instead of sitting here and bitching that the rich are getting richer, I mean, shouldn't we, it's our fault that we didn't take some of the paths that they took.
Why don't we just figure out how to get rich?
Because most of them are born into it, for one.
Yeah, but somebody above them, the ones that were born into it, had to have worked their ass off to get where they were.
Or they owned slaves, and they had a bunch of land, and they got rich that way. That's a lot of them, honestly.
Blood money.
Yeah. Look, and the point is, like, if you have a system that's constantly working against you, and it's constantly tearing you down, why aren't you... Why do we make this excuse to not fight the system, to not buck that system? But we make excuses for the people who are benefiting from it. But if...
are we not
hold on, one second. But if
bit?
we see an African-American woman use a food stamp card and get into a car that's nicer than us, then we want to attack her and lynch her. And, this is bullshit. See, it's a welfare queen, blah, blah, blah. But we're giving $1 trillion to rich people, and we're happy to do it. We're giving them hand jobs.
They worked for it, though.
They didn't work for that. We're giving it to them. They should be paying their fucking taxes like everyone else.
They are paying their taxes.
No, they're not. That's the thing. They're not. That's
they're
the
not.
whole $1 trillion is they're not paying any taxes. All that
tax-free money.
Exactly. That's where it comes into. They're not paying into this at all. We are. That's $1 trillion out of all of our collective pockets. And again, we're happy with that. Oh, fine. It's great. But yeah, somewhat welfare queens, they're the problem. Like,
how is that not a problem, though?
How is it not a problem that we're not making the richest people pay taxes?
But I mean, I'm not going to say that that's not a problem, but it's just as much
I love
a problem.
crooked cookies.
It's just as much a problem, though, the welfare queens.
You're telling me that, let's say, $1,200 a month given to one poor family is as much of a problem as someone who's netting about $25 million a month not paying their taxes?
This is why, okay, I'm going to tell you why I think it's a problem. Because when me and my ex-husband split up, I told him, look, just make my car payment. I'm not going to push for no child support, whatever, which that didn't even fucking happen either. I went into a state office asking for cash assistance. I knew I had a job lined up. I just hadn't started yet, and I didn't know exactly how much I was going to be making. I needed diapers for my daughter. They told me, well, we're sorry. You've got a job, so we're not going to be able to give you that cash assistance. If you make any more than $200 a month, you can't get it. I wasn't asking for a handout. I just wanted a little extra to be able to provide for my kids. I couldn't get that because I had a job. The ones that are out there not working and just getting all of that money and driving these nice-ass fucking cars and shit like that, that gets on my nerves.
So why aren't you blaming the system?
I did. I asked him, I said, are you fucking kidding me? I can come in here. But their whole thinking is that if we give you extra money, you're just going to spend more money. That's their thinking.
Thus stimulating the economy.
Right, but it's not even... But if they're, again, it's not the quote-unquote welfare queen's fault. That's the system's fault.
I understand.
And that system is incredibly underfunded because no one's paying into it.
But if they had a little bit more restrictions, on the ones that didn't have jobs, then it would be,
fair across the board.
It definitely should be. I mean, no, it's almost impossible to get food stamps or anything like that.
Matt, you got the nicest headphones I've seen all day.
It's cutting into my head.
You want some duct tape so you can fix it?
I bet that is.
No. Here you go, man. Fix it up with a little duct tape.
Duct tape.
Go all redneck.
No, I'm just saying, if they don't have the funds, then how can they make more people have money?
They don't have the funds because they're handing it out to people who don't have jobs.
They don't have funds because no one's paying into it. That's the thing. Like,
we can beat this horse all day long.
And look, I just wanted to say one thing. That, like, instead of always blaming and beating up the poor people, why aren't we going after the people who are doing nothing to help this country?
So basically, you're saying attack the rich.
Yes. Yes, it's class
Like
warfare.
let's
You understand?
launch
the richest
like
people-
guerrilla warfare,
reverse
against the rich.
purge.
Yes, yes. The richest
Eat the rich.
The Walton family came out on record saying that I'm glad there's racism because if they stopped focusing on hating each other because of their skin, they might focus on the money that we're taking. That's legit,
That just
man.
speaks volumes for how crooked the system really is.
Exactly.
I mean,
Or
you know.
people. I mean, it takes people to make a system.
Well, that's true, but there's the people that have the money have the power. That's the name of the
And
game.
we give it to them and we let them have it. We love for them to have we
Whoa.
worship them like God.
We're going to launch a revolution. It's going to happen. We're going to let them have it.
And honestly, I mean, I hear the whole queen of welfare queens and stuff and having nicer cars. They're not going to have that nice car for long. They're in debt.
Yeah,
They don't know how
it's
to.
going to get.
They don't
repoed.
know how to live financially. They may have a nice car now, you know, but when it comes down to it, they're not going to have it for long without actually getting a job and whatnot. Because welfare, you don't get enough welfare to pay for all that.
You don't. They probably got it off taxes, their income tax.
But in this state, this particular state that we reside in, if you have 5 different babies with 5 different baby daddies and they all are paying child support, you're a paid individual.
Okay, but you can only spend that money on so many things because of the new law that was just put in the last couple of years from our great Mr. Brownback, where you can't spend money. You can't buy movie tickets for welfare.
True.
You can't go to the strip club and spend money. You can only take
That's bullshit.
You can only take $25 out a day from the ATM.
which is not. enough
How
to
are
live
you-
on.
how
But
are
that's
you-
your door cover and your first lap dance at the strip club.
Think about it. How are you supposed to pay rent? Not all these people have bank accounts and checking. They don't know how to do that kind of stuff. There's reasons
and-
they're on welfare.
And we're not doing anything
No,
once
there's no
they're in the
education.
system to help them grow.
No.
They just put them in the system and leave them there.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes, it's a system meant to be abused.
I wish I could abuse it for like a month. Yeah. Give me $800 worth of free groceries, man. I'll barbecue steak for all of you guys.
No, but I hear both your arguments. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. That shit is annoying to see.
Yeah.
I get that, and there are people that abuse it. There's people that abuse disability. But the thing is how easy is it to abuse it?
It is.
How easy is it?
I don't think it's that easy.
It's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy.
I don't know.
I
mean,
figured out a way to manipulate it.
You could go get welfare just because of your heritage.
No, I couldn't.
Sure, you could.
No, I couldn't. We've been at that point where we tried.
And
We
you got a
couldn't.
higher chance of winning the lottery,
But
too.
can I also just say this? Colds are annoying to live with, but cancer is what kills you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not
And
disagreeing
that,
with what
you
you're
know.
saying. I'm ultimately agreeing with both of you. But what I'm saying
Well,
is
Congressman Matt
that's
here.
not I mean the welfare system and the disability system and all that system, it is set up to be abused. It just is.
And that abuse
It definitely needs to be
essentially
reformed.
takes away from money that could go other places and do more good.
And
But,
but
I mean, yeah, but there's still not enough in there. Like,
It's
missing
gonna
the
take-
point of like
it's
trillions
gonna
of dollars
take-
not going
yeah.
into the system. Is
It's
the
going to
problem.
take
But
years and years and years to reform schools. Man.
Also, though,
It's-
don't you have to now work to get? I mean, I deal with like as an employer, I deal with the state and with people, and I have employees who have asked me, "Hey, blah 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 from the state's going to call. Can you?" And I need you to actually cut my hours because I won't get any
Right.
sort of like
Yeah.
Right.
food stamps or whatever.
It's not
But then
that you
if-
have to work. It's that you can't. You're not supposed to work over a certain amount of time a week.
yeah,
Right.
you can't.
but these
work
are
over
these
so
are
many
different regulations state to state. Kansas is pretty tight on them
Yeah, Kansas is
because-
and I'm just speaking to Kansas. I
because
don't
they
know
are
the other ones.
red through and through, basically. But I mean, like, it's atrocious what that law that passed. Where, I mean, okay, you're on welfare and you want to go to bring your kids to a movie. I don't give a shit. I encourage that.
Right.
It's
That's quality family time.
$20. Go see a movie. Go enjoy that experience. But no, not under Brownback's reign. That doesn't work.
Well, he passed concealed carry.
Brownback is his days are numbered.
Jesus, Harold Christ. This is what happens at the pub, man. We get on rants and we just roll with them. I want to know how Matt's coffee's doing. I want to know what Matt's got a burning desire to say something. I don't know what it is. He seems perturbed.
I seem perturbed. I get perturbed on this topic. I do. Because
he just doesn't yell like I do.
I want to. I'm yelling inside. My head still hurts from this weekend.
Matt found out this weekend how young he's not.
Yes.
Tell getting old, isn't it, partner?
Yeah.
So what got you?
What got me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Was it whiskey, vodka?
Combination.
Strippers.
Whiskey and beer.
You mixed them?
Great combo.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're stupid.
That's a great combination.
He's Irish.
Yeah. It's like I'm supposed to.
I mean, did you drink the beer first or the whiskey first?
Whiskey.
You did it right.
Yeah.
So before the show starts, Jay asked an Irishman if he's a fan of the Boondock Saints.
But you see
That was funny.
He did that because
his tattoo, yeah. Which I mean, what is it?
No, I hate him.
Veritas. What?
Veritas Aquitas.
That's it. Yeah. What's that mean?
Truth and justice.
Ah, yeah, I have no idea.
It's because it's not Spanish. You
My
didn't get
favorite
it.
part of that movie was when they shot the cat.
The roommate's cat.
Of all the.
Oh wait, okay. I got a good topic because I've been wanting to know this for a while. I actually got another one after this, but why is it? And this has been bugging me on social media lately. Why is it that it's perfectly fine and cool for me to be scrolling through my newsfeed and I see dogs burned to death and beaten to death, but I can't see a fucking nipple? What the fuck's up with that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I can literally pull my shirt up, look down, and I see a nipple. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of work for me to see a dog beat to death in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Why is that? Good job, Facebook.
Yeah, like I would much rather see a nipple than a dog. And I don't even like animals, but like, there's those videos. And
they're awful.
They're all over the place recently. Oh, they're so
And they're put up there for awareness.
But have you noticed, like, none of them have a link to, like, do anything?
Yeah, like a stop animal abuse or anything like that, or donate to this charity.
Anything, yeah. I don't even see a website to go to. Nothing. It's just, hey, here's a poor excuse to show a dog getting its spine broke.
Yeah.
Social media is another thing that I think is just misused entirely. I mean,
I think it's overused.
it serves a purpose for like guys like us that are trying to promote shows and shit like that, but I don't really give a shit that you post on there something about, oh, I just broke up with my 19th boyfriend. Who gives a shit?
There's a lot of thirsty ass people out there.
I mean, who cares? I mean, this story got old after the first two. You know, all of your friends quit caring after the first two.
You ever see like the status updates where it's just like life just couldn't get any harder. ... And like, you know, all they want is people to comment on there.
Yeah, and be like, oh, what's going on?
Ugh. The only thing worse than that, it's kind of my favorite thing anymore, is to see people who, and I'm not trying to be mean, I'm really not, but people have no idea how to talk to a camera, or they don't have an idea how to narrate what point they're trying to make. And I love watching those people who do that and go Facebook Live. Oh, it's like watching a car accident. It's just beautiful.
It is just like watching a car accident. You don't want to watch it, but you have to. You know, like a train wreck.
It's the glory and the brutality of it. I love, like the last one I saw, this guy was just like, "Hey man, I think Facebook knows more than we know. It's a whole conspiracy, man." ...
Life is so hard.
He's sitting there looking at the, oh hey man, this weekend I'm probably grilling outside. I'm doing and it's like, dude, you completely like your topic is gone. You're now talking about drinking and grilling up chicken.
Hey, that's the American way.
Who are you?
Jesus. What's going on in your world, Jay?
In my role?
Yeah, you read the news about we can't talk about that on the air. There's certain things that we can't talk about on the air, and this is one of them. I don't know. I was just having a conversation. It's the pub. It's round table.
We're going to have to go to break because
quickly.
I'm really curious what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll segue into something before break. And
we're taking a break today?
I think we should.
I think we should regroup.
For one, we want to know.
Yes.
We're going to shut off for a minute so I can tell Jay the secret.
But I got something that kind of annoys me. And can you give out the phone number? So some of
316-778-0529.
And so anything we talked about, people can call and comment on.
Especially if you disagree.
Yes. And this one, though, particularly. So I was talking to my wife.
Oh, God.
No. This always
Jesus.
really well.
I know. I'm a ship.
Life couldn't get any harder. Dot.
No, but okay. I was talking to her because we have a lot of married friends and we have a lot of people that are in relationships and they're all having problems or whatever. A lot of them are anyway. And it's really annoying and you don't give a shit most of the time anyway. But one of the things that I hear from the guys aspect is like, well, I do this for her and do that and whatever, and I made a big deal for Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and all that shit, and it just got, and I'm like, well, what's really bothering you? And like, well, not getting any attention, sexual attention, good release, whatever. And it did kind of come to me, and I said this maybe without filtering, but I was just, and I was open form talking to my spouse as we do, and I was like, why can't women just designate 10 minutes a week to give a guy a hand job? Like, you spend at least 10 times that on your phone. Why can't you just, throw a guy a hand? Do you have any idea how often relationships would not have problems if a guy was just getting a handy at least like once a week? And here's what pisses me off so much. She looks at me and she's like, well, I mean, it goes the other way too. Women want that too. And I'm like, you didn't ask for it though. Like, that's what pisses me off about women in that regard. Like, we ask for something, then it's like, well, you could do the same thing. Well, we're the ones that asked. We brought it up. You wanted me to fucking go do something with your work friends or whatever. I had to go do this other shit. I didn't ask for you to do that. I don't ask you to. All I'm saying is 10 minutes for a hand job. Like, and I didn't even mean me personally. I just mean in general. Like, I really think just a hand job would fix a lot of relationships. That's what I'm saying. Just once a week, I appreciate you hand job.
Segue into break after that.
I don't think that a woman would like that out of a man.
But that's my point. Like, if she liked it, she'd bring it up.
Here's the thing, though. Us women, we don't like to bring up that kind of stuff because, number one, we don't want you to feel obligated. Number two, we think that if you really know us, you would know that, hey, we want this too.
But let me bring this up. And feel free not to answer this. In fact, both of you. Matt, when's the last time that your spouse or loved one was cranking on you, and you did the shoulder arm slap? Like that. Like, I'm just not interested. When's the last time you've done that?
I don't know.
Never is the answer. Never have you done that.
Yeah, guys don't do that.
But Ashley?
That used to happen to me
all the time. Like,
all the time. Like, for real. So I just, whatever. I'm not gonna bring it up.
Oh, no, but when's the last time someone had been messing with you and you're like, I'm not in the mood?
Oh, I mean, that's happened.
All the time. Right, guys are always in the mood. Women are halfway in the mood.
I mean, it depends for me. It depends on the time and the place.
Exactly. So, like, we don't know when to make that move. And two, and unfortunately, in this day and age, too, guys also have it's okay at the moment, but 5 years after a divorce or something like that, am I going to be a victim of Me Too? Because that's starting to be a thing. Like, it's just so, like, women have to take the initiative now. Guys can't. Even if you're married. Because those lines don't exist anymore. Like,
by the way, hashtag Me Too is like the worst thing that they could have called it.
Oh, I know.
Because if you're old, exactly. If you're old, hashtag does not mean hashtag. It means pound.
Pound Me Too.
No, it's 100% true.
We'll take a little break.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So
We'll continue the woman hating thing.
It's not women hating.
I love it how you always. I'm just kind of wondering if Matt's wife is very supportive and she listens, because you always try to throw Matt under the bus with some marital thing.
He does.
How did I do that?
And I think it's funny.
I was saying that he enjoys any sort of attention from his wife. That's all I was saying.
Well, yeah, but had he answered wrong,
I don't. That's not. I mean, I get plenty of attention. I'm the rarity of relationships.
out of the three of us in here, two of us are just fine with the attention that we get.
And did I not say that you have the healthiest relationship
Like you did.
I know of, and you guys are super happy?
It sounds to me like you're crying out for help.
Oh, no.
I don't think so.
I made my wife look like an albino Middle Eastern woman this morning. So
Sweet.
Right in the forehead.
Sweet, just right in the forehead. Bonked her.
Ricochet like hell. It's hilarious.
That pillowcase is in the washer. Break time. We'll be back. Holy shit. No, dude, so I was reading this thing the other day, and I wanted to text you about it, but I didn't.
I got to go ride at 3 today, by the way.
And we're back. We just so everybody knows, the conversation that we left you with is it continued as soon as we stopped the record button and we started playing some tunes. So a lot of great information came out. Good shit, man, going on. It's the pub. It's 106.6 The Blast. It's Sunday.
Bloody Sunday.
Yeah, we found out my boyfriend just doesn't like to give me that 10 minutes. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Listen.
Fucking Cody. I mean, not Cody.
So what we were going to talk about before was this. Obviously you can tell by the sounds effects that go on in here that we all like our vapes. And I was just going to bring up some general discussion because Jay's like a pro vapor, and like he dorks out on it. And see what his take was on the recent events of people and their vapes exploding in their face and killing them.
I got to be honest. I feel like I talk too much, so I'm going to let Matt actually handle it. 'Cause I trust Matt.
Dude, that's the finest example Matt. Of passing the buck I've ever seen.
I just trust him to give clear information, and I feel like I've been talking a lot today.
Well, let me tell you, stop vaping because your device is going to blow up in your face.
True.
All right? That's it.
And popcorn lung.
And popcorn lung.
Popcorn lung.
Yep, you will get cancer if you vape way faster than cigarettes. Cigarettes is the healthier alternative.
Yep, you handled it.
All right.
I'm just going to crank up my wattage and see if I can get the summits to blow
up. No, but seriously, obviously tragic over there in Florida, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think this last story. But this was the first one that I've heard in a long time. Like, for a while there, they were following, like, it was like every week there were like 10 of them at least, headlines of devices blown up. And a lot of the times it's batteries. Don't be stupid with your batteries. Don't, take a quarter and start flicking your quarter on a battery, just because you're bored. Or anything like that. You're probably going to have a bad time.
You're going to have a bad
time. But yeah, I mean, it's just like anything else, man. I mean, it can be dangerous, obviously, if you're stupid.
So can smoking cigarettes.
It was on an unregulated mod.
Exactly.
No
the mod that we all use that I see are all regulated because we are smart people. Obviously, you've got this. I mean, mine's like a brick. I mean, if this thing exploded, there's nothing left of my face. That's for sure. So
we do it big around here.
Yeah. But I'm not dumb either. As you guys can see, my extra batteries are in a plastic case.
Not in your pocket.
Not in my pocket. They're in a plastic case in my pocket, where there's no other metal that's going to touch them, or they're not going to touch each other. Don't take two batteries and just.
That's a big thing. That's like a good part of why a lot of them blow up too, is because they touch you. The batteries aren't wrapped, and then they touch each other in a device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Will, his device actually has a separator, so the batteries can't touch. Mine are on one side and then the other.
Mm-hmm.
I just have one battery.
And yeah, just
There
one
you go.
battery.
So
basically, it's the quality. Don't go to the gas station and buy a mod and
yeah. Well, and the hard thing is all these batteries, they come from the same place. They come from China. All right.
Yeah.
They just, I mean, no matter what label you have on it, they all come from the same factories in China.
buy them soon because they're going to get expensive.
But yeah, just take care of your batteries. Don't be stupid with your batteries. Granted, this guy was using a mechanical device,
Which is
also
what?
known as a mech mod, which is basically a device that doesn't have the regulatory stuff in it. So it's an unregulated device.
Like
it doesn't
fuses
have a
and stuff.
fuse. It literally is just a pin touching a battery. That's basically what a mech mod is. So you can, I mean, the thing he was using, literally you could make out of anything yourself.
And I believe his was homemade.
Probably.
No, they had a manufacturer on it.
Did they?
Yeah, they came out, but the research that I got, I guess where I think that the hiccup would be is what I read. The initial report said that they were blaming it on the inconsistency of rechargeable lithium-ion batteries.
Yeah, you have to be smart with how you charge your batteries too. You know, you shouldn't let them get too low, and you definitely should not overcharge them. If you look at any charger or even the packaging you buy on batteries, or even I think mods now, they warn you of this stuff where you're not even supposed to charge unsupervised. I do all the time.
Yeah.
But and as soon as they're charged, you want to take them off. You don't want them, which I'm terrible. I do them sometimes.
If you have a good charger,
Don't they just shut off though?
Yeah.
Don't they
Yeah.
stop
Yeah,
once
yeah,
it reaches
stop.
a certain?
So it's all about. I mean, so of course there's quality. That could be an argument in this, but I'm guessing this guy, you know, had his own device. These guys that use mech mods, they are, I'll call them hobbyists, I guess. I'm kind of a hobbyist when it comes to vaping. I have a lot of devices, but I've never used a mech mod. I'm too much of a pansy to even try. You can use a mech mod safely, I guess. It's just the risk is not for the reward for me. So
You'd be the guy that did it for the first time.
yeah,
and it would
and
blow
then,
up in
yeah,
your face.
exactly. I like a little bit of safety. You know, with these regulated devices, if something's not right, it's not going to fire. That's basically it.
that's right.
And if it does, and something bad happens, hopefully you live so you can sue the shit out of the company. 'Cause
And no regulated device has ever blown up.
no.
But I guess my
Upon
point
fire.
is how does it affect us as the elite of vapists moving forward? You know, when we go to our local vape shops, what kind of regulations are they going to put on these things now?
None.
Nothing.
They just have to deal with explaining and educating to people, and we're going to have to educate people. And they ask us, "Well, couldn't that blow up?" And you have to say, "No, it's really people not using something that has a fuse in it is really what it comes down to."
Well,
'Cause, I mean, and I had a mod that wouldn't fire, and I was like really annoyed by it. It's like I try, turn it off and turn it back on. I'm like, why the hell does it keep saying an atomizer short? And I kept hitting the button, whatever. So I finally got smart and took the batteries out, put them in my charger, and my charger has a volt meter on it. And like one of my batteries was volting out at like 26 volts.
Oh,
Yeah, Jesus! It would have just blown my face off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So if that was in a mech mod,
Yeah,
he
did.
wouldn't be sitting here anymore, probably.
My device has a thing on it to where it's got a meter on it that'll tell you, and it just won't do nothing. It'll say inconsistent battery voltage, and then it'll just shut it down.
And it'll do that sometimes if it's not charged. Like if one of your batteries isn't charged and the other one is.
I made all kinds of a mess.
They're that-
Speaking of my professional.
Yeah.
They're that finicky though, which is good. They need to be, just in case something like that.
So overall, it's safe. We're not going to die.
No, I mean none of us in here using all regulated mods. You're not going to run into that because I can see Zach's right now, and he's running pretty low on his batteries, and he's still he's fine.
I mean, Jay,
Jay, whatever,
what's your gamer handle, dude?
Jack.
Jack Jack me off.
I got a question, round table question. I read this interesting article where it said that there's two types of people. There's people that live for another person, like a soulmate or whatever. Like after they're with that person, they feel stronger and they'll just do whatever they can to keep that person in their life and whatever else. And
It's Asian women.
So we'll call that type 1. And then there's type 2, which has to be successful or at least pursuing like more of a work or hobby or whatever is important to them. And once they're able to put themselves into that, then they're able to be successful in a relationship, or whatever. So it's type. So say it's type 2.
That'd be type 2.
What would you say you are, Will?
I would say I'm definitely type 2.
Really?
What?
Yeah, I mean,
Are you
honestly,
serious
in my
with that?
head, that's where I was at too. Like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I was thinking type 1 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
What? Can you rephrase the question, please?
No, it's too
No,
late.
I think to me they both kind of go hand in hand. I mean, to me, life is a complete balance of success, and if you're successful in one area, you need to have all other areas in life match that level of success. So you need to continually move forward.
Okay, so you don't
So you're definitely type 2.
So you don't
Okay.
congressman this out.
You pick
Let me
one.
explain something. Basically, I'll break it down to the lowest common denominator.
Because I'm dumb.
Some people need, they can't, if they lose their job, they're fine because they still have that spouse. But then there's other people that losing their job or their hobby or their career or whatever you want to say
They
is
lose
worse.
their life.
Yes, is worse than losing. And then they'll end up self-destructing and ruining their relationship. That's what I'm saying.
I would say I'm type 1 though, although at the time it would affect me a lot because I've gone through quite a bit of schooling and I'm just waiting. I'm going to go back to school probably again. I feel like I always have to better myself in some sense. So I get that, but I couldn't do it without her.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Did you start it
And it's
before
not.
or
And it's not
start
supposed to
it
be
after?
easy.
I can't. I don't know. I mean, I'd say I kind of have both going on in every given day. I mean, if I had to pick just one,
That's essentially the question.
I can find. Okay, I'll break it down to the lowest common denominator. I can go get another job real easily if I lost my job. I won't replace my wife so easily.
So you're type 1.
So I'm type 1.
See, but I would argue because which one did I pick?
You said type.
You said type 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
type 1.
Their
Spouse
lover
being
boy.
the most important. Yes.
Yeah, but it's going to affect me. It's
Of course,
like
it's
big
not
time.
supposed to be. I mean, it's kind of like Sophie's Choice. I mean,
I almost feel like I'm type 2 in a way too, to where, it's really important to me, and earlier in my relationship probably wouldn't answer the same. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
So you're kind of sitting on the same fence I'm on.
Kind of
Because
I'm trying to, and Jay's like, no, stop.
yeah,
Just
you
pick
gotta
one.
pick one.
All right, I'm type 1.
One of them.
Type 1.
One of them.
What are
you?
you?
Could come back from one of them. You probably couldn't.
But you can. I mean,
You can. You can
come
rebound
back
from
either
both of
one.
them.
One's going to be a lot harder to come back.
I'm
That's
type
the
1.
point.
That would depend, but the level of hardness would depend on which type you are too. I mean, so what are you?
I'm probably type 2, honestly.
I can see that.
I can see that.
Like
You're a
I'm.
douchebag.
I don't feel like it, but it has nothing to do. Like it'd be a hard L. Don't get me wrong. And I've even said like I would never remarry. Like I'd just be alone, and I'm fine with that. To be
But
honest,
that's
I mean,
because you're lazy and don't want to date.
and that's because I'm at a point where like I don't need her to make me happy. I'm already happy. Like, and which is a good thing in a lot of ways because then
However, but would
I
you
bring
be happy?
happiness.
Like, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of, to me, that's like a dick move, because it's kind of like saying you don't bring me any kind of happiness.
Not really. That's not really. I think as much as I hate to agree with Jay, because I always try to find some reason to disagree with him, I think that's probably the smartest thing that he said all day, because what he's saying is that he's okay eating at the table by himself. He's 100% fine with that. He doesn't need to identify through his wife. Therefore, that's the creation of a very long, prosperous relationship, because you are able to he's not relying on someone else for his internal happiness. He creates it himself.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I understand that because we're in the same boat. However, I mean, you can't say that she doesn't bring you some kind of happiness.
I didn't say that.
But that's how you presented it.
Not really.
That's how.
It's from the female perspective. Now that you know how all the women that are listening are taking it.
but yeah, like losing my career and my hobbies and, moving forward. Like if I didn't have those, but I still had her, I would end up destroying our relationship because I'd be so miserable.
So if she just disappeared today with your PlayStation, you'd be pissed.
I wouldn't be happy.
Hey, you can be gone, but can you please give me my PlayStation back?
I wouldn't be happy because he'd have to go to the store and get another PlayStation.
And then all my save data. Oh my God, that's years.
Yeah.
Of course, I guess now it's not hardware.
I see it, and then to me, that's another dick move.
I was kidding. Like, I'm talking more about my business and this stupid thing I do.
But to me, that's still a dick move because to me, it's like. So he's valuing more on other material items and other aspects than us.
You know what? But him identifying that personality trait to me at this point, and I hate to sound like Matt on this, but it really does explain a lot of the things that he says now. Because his priority is creating his net worth to be able to share it with someone else. He's not relying on someone else for it.
And that's exactly it, too.
So in him, all those douchebag comments that he says about training his wife and this, that, and the other thing, his personality trait that he identified publicly explains a lot of that level of thinking. But
net worth is really...
Jesus, I sounded like I knew what I was doing.
I know. I was impressed.
That son of a bitch knows so.
But yeah, no, that is
because I vape.
That is a lot of it, though. Like being able to, like, financially handle anything that comes across, and bring that to the relationship is almost more important because I know how bad things are when you don't have money.
So you're a provider through and through.
Exactly.
And you're going to stop at nothing to be that role. Exactly. You're not going to accept the fact that. Well, I'm going to split that role with my wife. I'm going to provide for this household, period. If you don't like it, be gone. I'm still going to provide.
Right. And truth be told, she makes more than I do. Like her, and she would choose the same thing. She would say her career is more important than me personally. And I think and again, like that doesn't hurt me at all. I understand that, like, for one, you work so hard at a career. And if you're done, essentially. Like, you can't continue in that career path. Like,
that sucks.
That really fucks you. Yeah, like, what else are you going to, especially at your age, all those things, like, they would shut you, and moving forward, it'd make you a shitty person, which is really where I'm coming from. Like, before I got into my career and got into, radio and everything else, like, I was a pretty shitty person. Like, I was not a very good husband. And
see, we are a good influence.
I was creating a lot of problems for her. So what I'm saying is I know I'd probably go back to that same routine, that same path, because that internal depression would just destroy me.
Right.
The same manner. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I think a lot of that, too, happens when you have a kid, honestly. Like, I wouldn't put her... Even saying, like, she's my top person, no, my kid is 100%. And I wouldn't love her if she said the same. Like, if she was like, oh, no, you're above the kid. Oh, fuck you, bitch. Get the fuck out of the house. Like, he's got to be more important than me. 100%, without a doubt.
I get that. However, from a godly stance, that's not true.
Oh, fuck that.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
We're both atheists.
I mean, still.
Somebody farted.
God also was a big fan of stoning women if they sat on a pew and they were bleeding. So, there's that one.
So am I.
Look, blood doesn't come out of wood.
I mean, you sit in the hot rod making a mess? I'm just joking, wife. Sorry. I felt that look.
You start calling them diapers.
Listen, but it explains a lot of the things that you say that people may not have understood until just now. So you just opened up.
You opened up, man.
A lot, dude.
Yeah, I was kind of looking for you guys to do it, but thanks. I just thought that whole article was interesting, though. Like,
I would like to actually read that article.
Yeah, I'll forward it to you
because I think it would be kind of a good read.
I wouldn't. I think it sounds like it sucks.
That's just because your wife's listening.
No, because it also explains how people like Matt, for instance, could lose everything in that career path and whatever, but his attachment to his wife is stronger than anything else, and that's what's going to give him happiness. Like the depression or whatever, or that like fear, wouldn't be able to creep inside him that bad, and
right,
he relies on that. And like I said, I think a lot of that does change too when you have a kid, because there's a huge part of that where like I can't be tied to. 100% of you can't be to your spouse when you have a kid. Like, you just can't.
No.
Like, in fact,
nor should it be.
No. But however, it should be, because even if you have kids, you still have to be selfish in your marriage and give yourself time for each other. Because if you don't, you're going to fail your kids in the long run.
That's that 10 minutes a day he was talking about.
Yeah.
Or 10 minutes a week.
10 minutes a week, yeah. Not even that much.
2 minutes a day for you.
Yeah, dude, I would break it up. I would figure out a payment plan. Can I get a check? Can you front me 10 minutes? Can
I get a pay advance?
Yeah. I mean, I'll pay interest.
This has been a rough week. This has been a rough week.
It's been a rough day, babe. How about 8 minutes for 10 next week?
You'd be that. Yeah, you'd be that alcoholic that comes back to the bar. Come on, man, just another one.
Yeah,
he is that addict in every sense.
Yeah, just one more, man.
Just one
more, and I'll be good.
For work in the morning, and he's like, "Wait, just one more, kids. Just one more. Okay, one more, 5 more.
God, that'd drive me insane.
5 more, 1 more. Yeah.
You know what I love the most about it is that, like, I didn't really. So for me, for the longest part of my life, I did put myself in my advancement in life before others, and then once I had a kid, still continue to do the same thing. I just it didn't work out for me. So, I'm doing things a little bit differently in my life, and it's working. So, I think maybe it's not that I wasn't productively a trait number 2. I was more of a selfish prick. Mm-hmm. And
that's trait number 3.
Yeah, I was that guy that put myself, my wants, and my needs before anything else. Period. And I didn't give a shit what you thought or what you said.
Well, yeah, and I think like if you're type A or type B or whatever, you can still be a garbage person. Like it doesn't.
Well, yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
See, I was that one that put everything into my kids and my husband, and it still got me screwed in the long run.
But was it unhealthy?
It was very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm. There's a difference between like being a trait. Like I'm trait number 1, but I wouldn't say it's unhealthy.
Right.
I'm not relying on my wife to be happy. I'm not giving everything to her for my unhappiness.
Right. I mean, it was.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people. I'm not saying you in particular, but there's a lot of people that do that.
It wasn't unhealthy on my behalf. It ended up being unhealthy for me because, he just didn't appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And you continued.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Which drained you.
Right.
That's what I mean.
See, that's why he's around. Because he says smart shit like that.
He's just a psychologist, essentially.
I'm not a psychologist, damn it.
I said essentially.
Psycho.
I will say this, though. I do hate one of my biggest, almost to level of pedophile hate, is the woman who's always worried about getting herself a man, even though she has like a kid or two. She's like, but everything's about finding a man. Oh, Jesus,
I know where this is going.
No, I just hate.
I know where this is going.
Hey, so what about that Yanni and Laurel thing?
Yeah, you up on that?
Yeah, we did that on our show.
Yeah, we nobody called though.
What'd you hear?
Assholes.
What'd you hear?
See, and I didn't hear either one.
He heard Yanni.
I didn't.
You just said upstairs that you heard Yanni.
No, he heard Yuri.
Yes, that's what I heard.
Yeah, when you flip it over to the Yanni thing, that's what I hear, just jumble. And then as you move it, I hear Laurel plain as day.
Really?
it's on the Laurel tab because my sister sent me that tool where you can hear, one extreme to the other. Even when it was all the way over to the Laurel, even like in the background, I still heard the Yanny. Yanny.
Let me be the bearer of bad news on this. Let me get technical. Let me get technical real quick.
Like we did.
So what happens is, wife, you got that queued up? So what happens is this. They take a track, right? And we can break it down and dispel this. You just come plugging in and play whatever. They take a track, and so like Laurel is the baseline track. Yeah. So they got a guy that says Laurel, Laurel. And then they come in and they embed another track behind it in a completely different frequency that says Yanny, Yanny, Yanny.
Higher frequency.
And it depends on what you can hear. I can't hear high frequencies because of all that loud headbanging devil music.
I thought they never actually said.
That's how they did it. They just play both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
they're just
I would. What we'll do is we'll figure out some way what we can take and we'll run it through our software and I'll show you where they're embedded and it's laid over in a whole different frequency.
I think it was on Vice or something that I heard that it was actually supposed to be
turn the ringer
Laurel,
on.
but
no, it was Laurel and Yanny.
Really, they say both.
Okay, here we go. That's nothing, babe.
Yeah.
It sounds like the devil.
That is the devil.
It sounds like Predator when you rape.
Maybe it's not supposed to be put through devices.
So you can't record it. Yeah. So that sounds like Beelzebub saying, "I'm going to kill you."
Yeah, it's like when you play your records backwards.
Yeah, that's they don't like it. They don't like being.
They don't like it.
They don't like. That's demonic. We just played a record backwards. Anyway, it's became a big thing, and I think what it is what it does is it tells you how you process things, how you hear things, and I think that obviously because of my hearing, I can almost guarantee that the Laurel is a lower frequency.
Yeah.
Because
that's how it is for me too, because of all the loud music,
right?
And yeah.
Over a certain frequency level, over a certain megahertz, I can't hear anymore.
Does that mean your hearing is going out?
Yeah, your hearing's better than mine, bro.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Well, it doesn't mean that it's going out. That's not that's not how they classify it. Like the doctors, because I've had hearing tests before, have said that if we put it mathematically, 15% of your hearing is depleted because you can't hear these frequencies more. It's just like vision. You start with 20/20, and as your eyes start to deteriorate, you lose that. It's not that you're going blind. It's just that you can't see certain things any longer.
Right, but yeah, as far as like better hearing, so my hearing is better than yours. That's insane.
No, that's not what it says. What it's saying is that if you could hear lower frequencies more prevalently, it would overweigh those, so you have low tone hearing loss probably.
It doesn't necessarily, because like when you slid it all the way down to the scale on Laurel, were you able to hear Laurel?
I could hear it.
So it's not that you can't hear those.
It just sounded like Predator saying it in my ear.
This is the guy that wipes his pecker when he pees. Are you kidding me? He's got perfect hearing.
I have to have shitty hearing. I have awful hearing. I never wore ear protection.
Yeah, it would make sense that you have awful hearing.
Yeah.
I didn't either. And I said, the Queen and I were outside before we went on talking about it. I was like, maybe those double powered 15 cabinets for monitors that I had all those years weren't such a great idea. Yeah. Belting lead guitar and snare drum through.
I don't have anything wrong with my hearing, also, and I heard Yanny.
Yes, but also wouldn't you agree too that maybe Matt might have worse hearing because he's been out in the crowd? And I've tried to explain this to people, and I think only you would understand. When you're up on stage and you're playing music,
sounds like shit.
Well, no, you can talk to the other guy next to you, with same level we're talking now.
Right.
But if you're in the crowd, you're yelling, and like no one can understand. Like
it's the technical explanation for that is it breaks down into what's called anodes and something else. I can't remember the name of it, but what you get on stage is like, if we were to put it into layman's terms, is pure UV, right? So when you got to crank up because the room is big and your guitar cabinet's at 11, you're getting that straight to your head. There's no filter. When it goes out to the crowd, it's compressed, it's gated. You're getting 120 dB, but you're getting it consistent over all frequencies. There's no variation. So it doesn't damage your hearing as bad because you're not getting hit with one certain frequency over the other. So that's how that works.
Yeah. And I would argue that these things, what we're doing right now, is probably worse.
In a sense. But there again, it's mixed down to where the volume level for each individual is somewhat of better quality than just raw because it is mixed down and compressed a little bit. So the dB level's the same over every frequency from 20 hertz to 120 hertz.
What do you think about the kids who walk around with earphones on, especially the earbuds? Like how bad do you think they're going to have hearing loss when they're older?
Very bad.
I think it depends.
Whenever I can hear what you're hearing in your earbuds. That's when it's bad.
I think that there again, it just depends on the quality of the device that you're listening through. If we took Matt's $20 headphones and compared them to these $50 headphones in a hearing test, he's losing this battle.
No way.
All the way around.
How is that?
Because the quality, the frequency quality.
Getting half of it, yeah.
Can you do that?
The quality of the sound that's coming out is subpar. And so that's how your hearing is damaged. It's damaged in frequency levels and tones, not all at once. It's not a boom, all of a sudden you can't hear shit. Unless you just have some genetic disorder or get into an accident or something like that. There is sudden deafness, don't get me wrong. But if you're losing hearing because you worked in a shop or worked in the aircraft industry or stuff like that, you're going to be sensitive to those frequencies, and that's where your hearing loss is going to be. So mathematically, they put a percentile on that. 100% hears from 20 hertz to 120 hertz in all different volume levels. And as your hearing depletes, that window comes down, basically.
Do you ever get the tenderness?
Yes. When it's quiet, dude, my ears literally kill me.
I'm with you 100%.
I have to have some sort of background noise.
Tenderness, but
tinnitus.
It's tenderness.
Is it really?
Tinnitus is to do with inflammation,
Inflammation.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Inflammation.
Shut up. Eat my dick.
I couldn't catch you on the first one. I'm catching you on the second.
He's been around us too long. Well, me.
All right. Anyway.
But yeah, there's no in. Oh my god, I can't say the word now. When you have that ringing in your ear, there is no inflammatory tissue or anything like that.
See, my dad has that from SOS when he was in the Air Force.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Because he was constantly on headphones.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm starting to shit's getting fucked up with my hearing because of work. I constantly have a beeping in my ear.
Yeah. I bet, yeah. No,
but tenderness is a different demon. It's like for me, and I know people, especially musicians, that experience it at different times. But for me, when it's dead quiet, you can almost set a clock by it. Within about 15 seconds of dead quiet, both of my ears are going to start ringing so bad, and it's like a sharp.
You got both ears?
Yeah. It's like a sharp. One ear isn't as bad. I think it's almost maybe my mind just separating it so it doesn't hurt so bad. But in my right ear, it hurts. It feels like somebody's sticking an ice pick in my eardrum, and it comes on quick, and there is no slow fade in. It's just like boom now, and so I have to have some sort of background noise.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah. No, I sleep with the TV on. And I sleep with Netflix on a lot, and I wake up probably every 2 hours.
Turn it back on
because yes, I gotta turn it back on.
For me, the fan does it. The noise of a fan does it, but dead silence, man.
You're really fucking with your REM.
It's bad.
Oh, it's bad. I know. Actually, did you know something? I didn't know this. My wife told me this. That the REM sleep is actually not, because I thought it was like 4 hours, 2 to 4 hours, and then at that point, that's when you hit REM.
It's 3 o'clock.
Consistent.
Oh.
But it's actually can be as short as like 15 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I was with you. I thought it was 2 to 4 hours.
That's what I thought.
Every study that I've ever seen has been 2 to 4 hours.
Because that's why you shouldn't take a nap, I heard, is because it's not going to help you. But turns out that, if you take more than like a 15-minute nap, you can actually reach REM. Yeah, I was kind of surprised myself.
Matt's got to roll.
Yeah, I got to go.
Yep.
Peace out.
Thanks for
Jay's got to go.
Thanks for doing this, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
All right.
It's 4 minutes early.
We got a big bunch of shit we got to get going on, man. But namely, in part, the YouTube channel, man. We just dumped a bunch of new shit on YouTube today, man. 106.6 The Blast. Find us there. Subscribe to that shit. Find us on all of our Twitter handles and Instagrams and Facebooks and all that shit. 106.6 The Blast for the station. Man, spread the word. We got big stuff coming up June 9th. The Bands Against Bullying we're going to be a part of. Big shit going on there, man. So Neosho, Missouri. If you're in the area, man, $10, man. It's $10 ticket, all day festival. Come hang out with us, man.
Yeah, that'll be awesome if we can find a good hotel.
Come join the redneck mafia of metal.
That'd definitely be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be fun. You'll find a good hotel. Quit bitching and just get on TripAdvisor and book a hotel.
I'm looking forward to the beer gardens. I got to be honest.
We're gonna carry Jay out.
This
will be our first year doing this and our last.
I'm too weak. I can't drink like that anymore.
Well, we have confirmed a couple of bands to interview, so keep your wits about you for a while.
Who do you got?
One Nation Under and Waking the Sleeper so far.
Sweet.
I'm sure that everyone else won't mind, but I want to get permission from them so we can block out time.
That's smart, yeah.
You know what I mean? Then that way we can all enjoy ourselves instead of, working all day, basically.
No, I think that's probably a good way to go. And like I said, just a beer or two.
But you got to have 2 for me. Because I can't.
4? I don't know if I can handle 4 anymore.
And at least 1 for me.
I'm too old.
So you're up to 5. You might as well just be an alcoholic for the day, dude, and go a 6-pack.
I can't. Since you've been clean, have you had to take like a pain pill or something?
Yes,
and legitimate pain.
Yes.
Was it not like one of the worst experiences?
So let me tell you this story. I've been clean and sober a little over 7 years, and I have really bad back problems. And finally, I got to the point where it just hurt so bad, I went to the hospital, and I got a couple injections, and then they prescribed me Lortabs. But they prescribed me the little ones, the 500s that I used to make fun of. I wouldn't buy them on the street if you gave them to me. And, I see about a handful, right? I go to work, and I'm at work, and I take one of these things because I talked to my sponsor about it. He's like, dude, as long as you're not abusing what it says on that deal, it's for pain. You got it. You got to be able to work, feed your family. You got to do what you got to do. So you got my blessing. Okay, cool. I go to work and I take this pill. And about 30 minutes later, I'm in the corner sweating. I'm paranoid out of my mind. I am like literally watching butterflies fly. I'm texting my wife because she's my support group. And I'm like, I'm fucking freaking out. And she's like, why? Right. I said, I haven't been high in public in 7 years.
And it's the worst feeling. It's like worse than the first time you did it. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah. It was only like a year or two ago. And I'm not sober or whatever. Like, I just don't make a deal out of it. But it means nothing to me either. Like, but, yeah, I used to take painkillers more than I should have. And yeah, for years, probably 5 years.
Welcome to the music business, my friend.
Actually, that was from sports.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But yeah, so I took like one. Cause I don't know what the problem was. I think it's probably something in my back or something. But I took one and like, oh my God, it was awful. Like I just wanted to die. I'm like,
no. Why am I doing this? I'm thinking.
And I could never understand that, like especially when I was younger, and like your grandma, your dad, or whatever would be like, I'll just stay in pain, and you're like, what's your problem? Like, you have an excuse to feel awesome. Why don't you want to feel awesome?
Right.
Then you understand, and you're like, yeah, no, I'd rather be in pain.
Oh, dude, I was literally paranoid tripping balls on one Lortab.
Yes. Same experience, exact same experience.
My wife's like, she's texting me. She's like, just calm down. It's going to be okay. I'm like, no, it's not. There's fucking unicorns flying around.
I didn't have that, but I just had
wasn't quite that bad.
I just had I was sweaty and like really jumpy, and I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Thinking everybody was looking at me. Like, dude, I would have been that guy if I had blinds in my office. I would have been looking out them. Like, I would have been that guy picking at myself and shit.
That was awful.
That's bad. Opiates bad.
No, they're not a good thing. They're really not.
They used to be. Had a lot of fun on Vicodin.
Hey, but aren't you glad you weren't one of those 64,000 people a year?
Yeah. Yeah. Very easily could have been. If I didn't have a stomach like a horse, I probably would have been dead a long time ago.
Or a liver, I guess, like an elephant.
Yeah, I have no liver problems. And that's funny because, like, I literally drank enough every day to kill a small village.
And you took the pills, too?
Oh, yeah, by the handful.
Really?
I would probably eat 8 to 10 Vicodin a day.
Holy shit.
And just drink nonstop. From the time I got up till the time I went down.
Wow.
Then you throw every other piles of stuff that we could stuff up our nose in the middle of it. And man, that's what I'm talking about. My trait 2 was completely on the opposite spectrum.
Especially when I started taking the pain pills, I would stop drinking. Because I knew it's not good for your liver.
Oh no!
Like that would.
If that bottle,
if that bottle said "don't take with alcohol," I washed it down with a bottle of Jägermeister.
Holy shit! I'm surprised you survived.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, because like even when I was taking it, like it would be like take one every 3 to 4 hours or whatever. So I'd take 2, but I would never go over the recommended dosage. Never, because I know that would fuck your liver up too. And
I'd buy them by the 100 every 2 weeks and just
holy shit.
I tried to make a Pez dispenser for my Vicodins, but I just could never really get it to work.
It's amazing. It's a testament to your liver.
Yeah, I got good genetics. Other than having diabetes.
And something's got to. I mean,
if that's the price that I have to pay, I can control that.
That's like coming out with you just happen to get syphilis. Like, just a shot, no big deal.
Yeah, prevent it. Hey man, we did it big, rock and roll.
I resorted to when I went to jail snorting coffee.
Snorting coffee?
Yes.
Why did you snort coffee?
It was a rush.
Is it?
Yeah.
You should try it. You should try it live one time. Good. I mean, it can't kill you. Yeah, it's not addictive. Any more addictive than those 2 big-ass tall boys of Pepsi that you swing on.
Yeah, but no, it's not even that. It's just the burning I'd worry about. I was never a snorter.
It's the coming up that's not that bad, but blowing your nose later.
It's all brown.
It's all brown and shit. It look like you're shitting out your nose.
Did anyone notice, like...
When I was in jail? No.
Like, what's that chick doing?
No.
Why is she sniffing coffee?
Because, I was in the maximum security cell.
You need a meeting.
They were all the guards were in their bubble. There was no windows in our cells.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
Well, yeah, because of the women.
Well, I was thinking also, too, because, like, they could hurt themselves, right? Well, I don't know.
That glass is pretty thick. I think I've never really been to jail like that.
Yeah, I've never had a ticket in my life. I'm serious. I've never had a ticket.
Such a good boy.
No, I just didn't get caught.
This guy.
He's such a rule follower.
This guy. Which is probably why it's so easy for him to do good now, because he missed all of the excitement of getting caught doing this shit. He's like, I'm just that unlucky bastard that's just going to die high somewhere. This is dumb. I'm going to try something different.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Just like, well, this isn't fun anymore.
Nothing cool happens to me when I'm high.
I'm apparently, though, I don't think I have an addictive personality as much as I used to. I think I just get caught up in habits, and then I get bored of those habits, and then I move on.
You find something to replace it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's addiction. That's addictive personality.
I mean, kind of, but I don't ever miss any, like, I'm like,
Well, no, because the instant gratification of the new shit outweighs the boringness of the old shit.
See, like, right now, I couldn't say what I have. Like, I'm addicted to. I got nothing.
I'm addicted to playing pool on my phone right now.
How long have you been doing that?
It's new. This is a new addiction.
Maybe about a month or so.
It's so powerful. It's taken away from Candy Crush.
Yes.
Candy Crush. You need to be addicted to like more advanced video games.
Yeah, they were trying to get her on the PlayStation.
Those, okay, I'm proud of myself for being able to turn it on and like turn it off. Okay, that's difficult.
You should play Jack and Dexter. I think it's Jack. No, Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank. Jack and Dexter. I remember Jack and
My
Dexter.
wife goes through those games. Like, that's the only one she does game on. But those are the ones that she plays. Like, those, like, kiddie games. And, like, you can't get her off the... Like, you know, literally, like, prying her off. She don't give a shit about anything else. Fortnite or Call of Duty or any of those, like, big games she don't give a shit about.
Give me a Mario Brothers on a Wii any day, and I'm there.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
That's the same.
Donkey Kong.
Hey, there's a new one out for the Switch.
Hey, that's what Little Will's actually got it.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he says it's pretty cool.
Oh, my kid's bugging me for it.
He's got they're re-releasing Kung Fu too.
Yeah.
Remember the old Kung Fu game where you climbed up the levels and you kicked ass and you look like a little Bruce Lee figure?
My kid's got, I don't know. He's been on that, like, buying him a new game, but he started, he's building his own city out of Legos, and, like, and, look, everyone's always proud of their kid, so, but my kid is surprisingly impressive. Like, he's building this, like, theater, and it's got, like, stadium seating, and, like, a place where there's a microwave and a thingy for selling hot dogs and shit like that. Kind of like a little cup thing that looks like, I don't know, like a thing of popcorn or whatever. Like,
Is he getting this all from his imagination, or is it like?
Yeah.
Wow, that's.
I know it's way more than like, and he had me try to help him build a bank, and I just, you know, like how you did with the Legos, had like a little.
A square that was
and
gray.
I'm just like building up the walls, and I'm like, I put something in the middle. I'm like, all right, there we go. There's a bank, and like I come back to check on how he did it, and he put like an awning on it, and then he put like little teller areas, and then like he had these like little flat things, and he stacked them up in the back to look like the money. Like, I'm like, God damn it! Like, I am so not creative.
When your 5-year-old is smarter than you.
He's so I don't know where he because apparently not from me.
But you think about this though. It's the way that they learn now. It's the things that the stuff that they pick up on these kids shows and the things that they learn how to use their mind is so far ahead of where it was when we were watching Captain Kangaroo, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I missed out on the character, you know. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street.
I watched Bozo.
Okay,
Bozo?
so Bozo, yeah. Bozo the clown.
I just wanted to go and pitch
and
balls.
throw the balls. I know. Like, what the fuck's wrong with that kid?
Do you remember the Kansas version of that, which was Wizzo? Do you remember Wizzo the clown?
No.
It was on before Sesame Street.
We always had cable.
Right after the Electric Avenue show and right before Sesame Street.
What about Fraggle Rock?
Fraggle
Rock was good, yeah. Fraggle was good.
That's another thing I love about my kid is he's getting into the old shit. Like we were watching Rugrats.
Oh,
yeah. I know, and I'm like, I was actually watching it, you know, and I'm like, oh, we should watch Rocko's Modern Life. You got to watch that. I'm watching all this shit when I was a kid. It was great, Doug. Like, oh yeah, Doug.
Wait till he watches The Simpsons.
He doesn't like The Simpsons that much. Oh, and it's funny.
It's probably because, in realistically speaking, it's too stupid for him.
Well, and
like his mind doesn't wrap around the concept.
If he hears the intro to Family Guy, he comes running in and he turns off the TV. And he's like, this is bad TV. You're not supposed to watch it. So there's like no... Which is fun. Like, I think I started that, honestly. But
yeah, you don't want to catch him up late watching Archer.
No.
Not all cartoons are good.
No, I've definitely had to explain that. But do you think, without taking this too long, but do you think it's good or bad the way kids are interacting with like tablets and shit like that nowadays? Because I've heard my son's teacher is like so hardcore about like cutting off like the electronics. She's like, kids shouldn't have any electronics.
I think it's like a really fine line.
I think
it's
before a certain age.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't even say it's so much a certain age because my cousin he was autistic or is autistic, and so he learned a lot through his tablet. However, I think that where the problem comes though is whenever they become so relied on that device that they don't know how to act without it.
Do you think that? And what I've kind of wondered too, though, is like, is that going to be a staple?
Yes.
Or do we just see that very briefly? Because like, kind of like states and namely countries where they've legalized marijuana like years and years ago, it's not a big thing anymore. Like no one cares. In fact, they make fun of the fact that tourists are the ones who are always stoned doing stupid shit.
Yeah, but technology continues to advance. Weed is weed.
Weed advances too.
Well, but not like
you got down with some dabs lately.
I just think that if I don't disagree with them using it as a form of learning, what I think is that they need to, before they're allowed to encapsulate themselves in that level of learning, they need to first develop basic social skills. And once those are developed, then to the electronics. What I see is that in my own personal life, just from watching, these kids, they're like she said, they're so relying upon these devices in their hands that they don't know how to socialize any longer.
I can definitely see that. I wonder the actual addiction to the devices, because like, yeah, there again, like I've never held any real limitations on my kid. He has like a Wii U, DVD player, a 40-some inch TV in his room, which by the way is like pristine because it never gets used. A tablet and a Nintendo Switch. He has a lot of fucking electronic devices, and he rarely uses them. Like he's usually drawing or playing Legos, and like I just wonder if like the fact that I didn't make it a big deal is like why it's like who cares?
That might be exactly why.
Like
because you didn't teach him that as a form of you didn't use electronics as a babysitter. You spent time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, you didn't hand him your phone in the store because he was throwing a fit.
Yeah, true. And but I also wonder just how much of it is like he knows it's there whenever he wants it, so it's not a thing. I don't know. You know what I'm saying though? Like
right, like Sweden, there's a lot less drug addiction because you can get it everywhere.
Yeah. When you feel like something's fleeting, you want to take advantage of it while you can.
Right.
And I just wonder if that's a thing. Like,
it's
better just not to.
Maybe don't make such a big deal of it.
Yeah.
And see.
I don't know. I only have the one kid, so.
I have noticed that with Little Will, when I don't say anything to him about his electronics for a said period of time, he usually just kind of puts it off to the side and joins the conversation. It's when I harp on him about it, he fights for that time.
No.
Ashley's disagreeing.
I think you got that twisted.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it also depends on a lot of chemicals and stuff too.
Yeah.
It also depends on his age. Because he's 11?
12.
Oh, he's 12.
He's 12 now.
Yeah, he's kind of in that, like, go fuck yourself kind of age, like, where... Yeah,
I don't think really...
wants to be alone with his music.
Age has anything to do with it. I think every individual's genes has a lot to do with it. Because my 12-year-old daughter is like... Is that all he ever does is just sit there on the... because every time they see him on FaceTime, that's all he's doing. They're like, we go outside and we play all the time. That's just stupid. I think it's just an individual based and also on how they're brought up too.
He's also big into... Little Will is a big gamer. Like, this his thing. Like, his life goal is he wants to write programs and create video games.
But
so he does things now that are preparing him for that. He's big into art, studying art. I mean, clear back to the 12-year-old kid can have a conversation with you about the Art Deco time period. Most of us don't even know what that is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he can identify those things. And so he does things in preparation for that. I think maybe it kind of started off as an excuse to get lost in games, but as it progresses, like he does.
Does he game with friends?
Yes.
See, that's another thing. They did a study recently and found out that people, especially gamers that have friends and whatever, are less they're less likely to be bigots because they don't judge anyone by what they look like before they're friends with them because they don't know what these people look like.
Right, they don't know what they look like.
What they sound like. They have less anger. There's like all these real positives to it. You ever watch Bill Nye Saves the World on Netflix?
No.
He did a really good thing. I thought he was going to trash gaming, and he came across like this other. He's a big gamer too, which I didn't know that. You think Bill Nye, big dork, you know? But he's apparently a big gamer.
Really?
Yeah. He was actually talking about how much he loves Fortnite. Like, how is Bill Nye?
Everybody loves Fortnite, though.
I'm still lost. I still don't even know how to play it.
That's a great game, dude. Jump on. I'll take you with me.
But yeah, I mean, so there's like two different. I don't know. There's two different mindsets about.
But Little Will plays with his friends that he knows. He plays, but he doesn't really talk to the people.
I think a lot of that is because he's under such tight constraints elsewhere. Like that day he was playing here and he had a team, and there was one guy that he knew and a bunch of other guys he didn't. And he had the headset disconnected, but he was just doing a bunch of dumb stuff that was just pissing me off and everyone else. And he's on my screen name. So I said, plug that damn headset in because they're just talking mad crap on you, dude. And so I jumped on and I'm like, hey, this is my son playing this game. If you see my screen name come up, I don't really suck this bad. And so then from there, but I think it's because in his other setting, he's not allowed to communicate like that. To me, I encourage that. If you're gonna be doing something like that, you need to still be socializing.
Right.
You know, I mean, you got to keep that social skill up. You know, there's plenty of security on the back end. Like you say, we can be parents and we can block potential harm through communicating with somebody on a game. You know what I mean?
But what, for Little Will, what brought on his interest in wanting to become a gamer, and pursue that for later in his life? I mean, is it because that's what he was thrown from such a young age? You know,
for him, it wasn't games. It was TV, and he watches a lot less TV. Like, I mean, he's a big YouTuber,
right? Because he was handed other devices to keep him.
But I think that realistically speaking, I think it's because he likes to break things down and he likes to figure things out. And I think his interest in games is due to that. Like, he's big into the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that because they're a challenge for his mind. He can't figure them out and beat the game overnight.
When there's stories and there's deeper, which is another question that I'll let both of you answer, because I'm not really sure the answer myself. What is, and this comes from a place of where people do complain about people gaming, and it seems to be something that they harp a lot more on than they do like social media or phone use or any of that. It's the game, you know. But what's the difference between gaming, watching TV or a movie, and yeah, being on your phone? Like, what's the difference? Why is one more like seen as outlined as bad?
I think it's just for gaming. It's because of the extreme graphic nature of the game, so they blame a lot of society's problems on that, and so it's just a negative stigma.
TV and movies,
well, absolutely, but the Warner Brothers has far more money to spend on fighting that stuff, where Activision and Rockstar don't give a shit.
No,
they're going to sell games regardless. They don't care. So there's that. I think that gaming as a whole is. I don't necessarily agree. To me, I think to myself, Jesus, man, there's things we could be doing outside, but it's still more productive than just sitting there and watching a cartoon.
That's
what I mean?
What's your take?
To me, I think they're all the same evil. I mean, to be honest, I mean, it would. Let's shut the TV off and have a conversation.
Right, but I mean, okay, and I'm basing this off of the fact that you hung out and you talked for half hour, an hour. You have that already. Okay. Because that's one of my things, too, is like people, when they go after gamers or whatever, I'm like, well, they're again like, oh, we can talk about what happened on America's Fattiest Fatty, because everyone watches.
So you're saying that's already,
you know what I'm saying? Like.
So you're saying that's already done, and you've had your quiet time and talk time and everything. To me, I mean, for real, I would rather sit down and find a common show that we all like to watch and be able to sit there and enjoy that together than, you know, a lot of the times, you know, like we'll get on there and it's one player game, you know, so it's more of a selfish activity versus a family activity. It's same as your phone. You know, you're on that. A lot of the times you got the earbuds in, you can't even hear what the hell's going on.
Okay, and let me ask you another question, because my wife has the same argument, like when I'm gaming or whatever. But when we watch TV or watching a movie, I look over at her and she's on her phone most of the time. Like, are you on your phone when you're watching TV?
Yes.
So then, what's if you're not, and that's not my, and I'm not coming at you. But I'm just saying, like, for one of the things I say to her is like, so I'm the only one watching this shit show, like this TV show.
Here's my defense on that. A lot of the times it's because I hear, you're on your phone, so I'll put my phone down, whatever. And then I look over and I see him on his phone, so I'll just, whatever. You know what? I'm going to pick up my phone and be like, okay, whatever. But a lot of the times, if it's something that I'm really interested in that's on the TV, I don't care about my phone. It's, you know, it's whatever. I can catch up on that later.
And I guess then this goes to the same question too. If you're really into it though, like, is little Will gonna be into it? Is Will gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a hard. But there's no like
we watch Big Brother together, and that's one thing that
that's one time that you can find that none of us are on our phone is when the Big Brother's on.
Yeah.
But that's a rare occurrence, am I right?
For all three of us, yes.
For all three of us, if all three of us are in a room together, for one of us to not be on our phone is a rarity. But
which is
a lot of times for her, it's work or she's helping somebody through an issue. For me, it's station shit or station shit or something, or I'm talking shit to you. Porn, yeah. And for little Will, he's kind of moving more into the arts, man. I mean, he's big into music. He went from YouTubing to phone gaming to now whenever he's got his earbuds in, he's listening to music.
Right.
You know, and he's just over there drawing, listening to music.
Which is his age, and yeah. I mean, there again, that's like when they start separating anyway. You know, hanging out in their own room and
right.
You know.
Yeah.
I just
spanking the monkey.
I just don't understand why there's for instance, like, okay, I got to start watching Lucifer because the wife loves Lucifer. But me and my son started playing Minecraft, and she's like, well, I'm not going to play Minecraft with you guys. Like, you know, and like by societal standards, that's fine. Like, it's complete. You should try to like a TV show, you know, but you shouldn't try to like a game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you know, and there's no shame on her for not trying to get into something that he's into, or, you know.
But I mean, on the same sense, though, you're sitting there and watching somebody else play. It's kind of boring.
Well, we're talking though. Like, it's not like, you know, get that so we can build this, and then.
But you're also speaking a language that only you two know. You know, it's hard unless you're actually playing it. You're not going to understand what the hell's going on.
Yeah, but look at the positive of playing Minecraft together. Look at, for example, his Lego city.
I don't know anything.
Where do you think he probably picked up a lot of these building details?
That was the thing, like, yeah, we didn't know either, and we tried to get her early on to, you know, check this game out with us. It's actually kind of fun, you know. Like, it's just my thing. Like, why is it? It's just that one has a bad stigma, and not to mention Lucifer. And a lot of these shows that adults like are kind of violent and
you shouldn't watch them with your 5-year-old. Yeah,
I mean, yeah. Like, you'll watch Better Call Saul, and like there's like all sorts of cussing and stuff like that, and like I've got to shut it down every time I come home. And there's like something like that on. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
there's cussing on this. What in the fuck are you doing?
And he'll be like, well, you know, I was trying to play my Switch on the TV, but Mommy said no. You know, and it's like. He's playing Mario Odyssey on the TV. How is that worse than watching? Yeah, I it's just. I just think that there's a weird stigmatism.
I think to the Queen's point, it's largely in part how you were brought up. You know, how you think of it. Same thing with anything else that people have negative comments about. Guns, clothes, cars, whatever. You know, that's how you're brought up. If you grew up in a Chevy family, you don't like Ford, right?
We had a Nintendo, but that was in my mom and dad's bedroom on the TV in their room. Jesus. We didn't have electronics in our rooms until we were old enough to buy our own. Then that's when we were able to get, a TV in our room or, something like that.
And then your dad, Goebbels?
No. I didn't have my first phone until I was well into high school. It taught me a value of working for what you, several values. Number one, if you want your time on the gaming, you're not taking up everybody else's time. You're kind of separating yourself and going in there, but you're only allowed to do it for so long. We had our dinner time discussions. We all sat down around the table.
Right.
We all had our we watched Seinfeld together. We watched Mad About You together. We all had our times together. It was completely different.
But then, after you're done, because you eat, you go, let's say, it's just for sake of argument, 5 o'clock you eat, end about 5:30. Unless you're a long family eater, say 6, then you have an hour of family-friendly TV or so. Then what do you do the rest of the night?
If you're little Will, you're screwed because 8 o'clock's bedtime.
8 o'clock?
Yeah. My bedtime was 9.
What happened to Goebbels?
Yeah.
Reincarnated.
It's not even dark when he's got to go to bed.
Holy shit.
My bedtime was
What
9.
are you doing to the kid?
Dude, this isn't me, man.
Oh, okay.
My bedtime was 9. We still, we laughed. We got on the floor. We played together. My dad and I, Indian leg wrestled all the time. We found ways to fill our time.
Times were different, though.
It was only 15 years ago.
Really, if you don't go to school, if you don't go to school and talk about the new game, then you're
12 and
just
13. You didn't just go into your room and do your own thing?
No, I didn't.
Holy shit!
I was brought up a completely different way.
We were guys, we did.
I figure girls do that more than guys.
I did later on, whenever my mom got back into her addiction and they separated, and then I didn't just go into my own way. I left the house.
See, that's
I
could
16.
not, even as young as 5, I couldn't survive without a little bit of me time, alone time. I gotta have it.
I had alone time with my friends. We went out and we.
See, that's not alone time.
How's that alone time?
I need to be alone.
I had alone time when I walked to school, when I walked home from school, when I that kind of thing.
So basically, though, on a Saturday morning to dusk to dawn, so to speak, you are just constantly with your family.
Friends or family, yeah.
Holy shit, it's insane. Did you ever have time to
We went camping.
to find your zen to refocus on your own thoughts and when did you ever have? Oh, that would drive me insane.
I guess that's part of the reason why I am who I am today is because back then we all made each other happy. We in a sense, it kind of hurt me in a way, yeah, because I self-identified through everybody else.
So you weren't really able to find out who you were.
I had plenty of time to find out who I was when my mom was an addict. After whenever.
Well, yeah, when things got dark.
I enjoyed it because when my sperm donor was around, I spent a lot of my time in my closet screaming for help for somebody, for other people to come and save me. I had plenty of that, so I embraced it and I loved the family time.
And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with family time. But there's no way I could go I've got to escape a little bit, from anyone I love.
But see, I'm the same. I'm the same as her. I love family and friends and socializing. But I'm not as extreme. I do need just time to process.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's...
Sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's 2 hours.
That's what your bathroom time is for.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. You ever lived with a bunch of people?
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, I always hated the guy who would, like, come into your room. Like, he didn't realize, like, you're going into your room, so because you wanted to be alone.
Right, leave me alone.
Yes. Oh, that dude would always drive me insane. And there was always one. And you and, like, the other two or, other guy would always complain about him.
Like, Jesus, can he just not pay his rent this month so we can kick him out?
Just want to read a book. About time.
What else you got, man?
That's it, man.
It's been a good show. Queen, good job today. Kept it fired up.
Whatever.
You got Matt fired up even. Good show, man. Next Sunday, the pub. Hey, you guys are on tomorrow, man? Revolution Radio.
We are.
5 to 7 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, the throwback with myself and D-Bag. Thursday, the Metal Meltdown, myself and D-Bag. The return of the assault, Friday night, man.
It's been an 8-year process, but it's finally coming back.
We pulled one off this Friday. Went very well.
I was going to call in. But you didn't text me.
Well, I thought you were listening.
I couldn't.
So I said call.
I was at some family or some work event.
My show of a phone was dead.
Oh. Okay.
So it was like, Jay, if you're listening, call. If you call. And I was like, well, we must have pissed him off. But no, man, the revamp of it went well, and I think the launch of it went well. We're trying out some different co-hosts. You and I have talked about that, and so Metal Mike's stepping up to the plate right now, kind of giving it a go, seeing what he's got. But the overall feel of the show, man, was, myself and my partner talked about kind of my vision of where the show should be, and with somebody on the other side of the table that is knowledgeable in that genre was the icing on the cake, dude. I mean, it was a phenomenal show.
That's awesome.
I went upstairs and I told the Queen, I said, it's been a long time since I've had that much fun on a Friday show.
That's awesome.
And so I think that we can just keep going. But anyway, the return of the assault, man. So it's kind of cool, and it's going to be fun. And then of course we're back on Sundays.
I probably won't be going to the lake house this weekend.
Oh, the lake house. So so I need Cody.
Cody will be here.
Cody will
Matt
be here.
will probably be here.
Matt will probably be here. The Queen will be here. We'll get some guests
I'll
in
listen
the
to you
door.
guys if I can.
We'll get some guests in the door.
Up there on the lake.
Don't worry.
Our fucking
shut it off.
The
Don't
internet
worry.
sucks.
You know what? You can catch it on YouTube on Monday, dude.
That's true.
Until next Sunday, man. The pub is closed. Full week's lineup, man. Don't miss it. Peace.